Hello everyone. In this tutorial I want to explain a little bit about setting up AnyRail for your layout. If you first start the program, you will get to see something like this. So just a white square on a blue background. The first thing you probably want to do is set the units, so the measurement system. You can always check the current measurement system or units in the left bottom corner. For now, it's centimeters. If you want to change this, go to the Settings tab and select another measurement system. For instance, fractional inches. From that moment on, all the values will be displayed in inches with fractions, as you can see here. You can also set the precision. So for instance, if you want to go to, well, your maximum precision is 1/16 of an inch. You go here and the values will be rounded to the nearest 1/16. For now, however, we'll be using centimeters. The next thing is to set the size of the work area. This is the work area. So this is more or less the area where your layout is going to be put. It also defines the scrollable area. At the moment we have no scroll bars because the work area fits exactly on the screen. But if we zoom in, for instance here, by scrolling this bar here, scroll bars appear here vertically and horizontally. You can use these to move around, but only as far as the work area goes. So let's zoom out a bit again. I'm using Control in the mouse wheel now. And now we see the whole area again. We can also set up rulers by the sides of the whole screen. To do so, go to File, Options, and add the rulers from the General section here. So a top ruler, as you can see here, maybe a left ruler, and that should be good for now. Done. You can always see the small red arrows here to indicate where your mouse is. Right, let's set the size of the work area. Remember, you can always change things later. Nothing is final. So don't worry too much about this. Okay, we go to the work area and set the length, so that's from left to right, to 300 centimeters. By the way, you can always check your mouse position in the left bottom corner of the status bar. Like now it's 77.33 and Y is 82.14, as you can see. If I move the mouse there, however, you can't see it anymore, because then it indicates that the mouse is outside of the work area. All right. Let's set the width, so that's top to bottom, to 200. And let's add a grid. The grid is just a grid of lines that helps you a little bit to get an idea of the scale. So let's set a grid of 5 centimeters, like this. So now if we zoom in a bit, you have a better idea where you are, as this is 5 centimeters from here to here and from here to here. Okay, another thing we can do is change the origin. At the moment, the origin is at the left top here. So this is 0, 0, and this is 0, 200. And this is 300, 0, and this is 300, 200. All right. But to do that, we first have to make the origin show. So go to the Show tab and tick Origin. The origin now appears here. We can move it around wherever we want, and then that becomes the 0, 0 point, as you can see in the left bottom again. I now just use Ctrl Z to return, let it return to the left corner of my screen. You can also do this manually by going to Settings and then reset the position of the origin. The values you see here are, well, the base values really. So if you go to 0 here again and 0 here, it will be at the left top corner again. If you want, you can also put the y-axis in the other direction. By default it's going down, but if you want it differently, take this one, and now the y direction is up. So now this is 0, 0, and y increases as we go up the screen. Alright, now I'll put it back in the default settings. Right, let's add a tabletop. The tabletop is your train table. So we can do that from the Insert tab, and then we'll select a template this time. Here in the tabletop group, select template. I want to have an L-shaped layout, so let's pick this one. In the template you can see that you can change the sizes of your table here by changing the values in these boxes. So for instance, let's make our table 250 centimeters long. So that's from left to right. Maybe this one, 60 centimeters. You see that the other values adjust accordingly. Let's make this one 150 centimeters. And this one 60 again. Alright. So the other values are logically deduced from from the other ones. This is where the table is going to be placed on your work area. So let's change this to 25. 25 and tick OK. So it's put at position 25, 25, and it has all the dimensions that we gave it. Let's assume we want round corners for our table. Then we can select the points that we want to be rounded. For instance, this one. I hold Control, go to this one, click this one, and this one, and then select round corners here. So now we have a nice table with rounded corners. Finally, let's assume you want the origin at the left top, so here. Then we can drag the origin this way, and now hold Control to make the origin snap to this point. You will see a blue dot, like now, when it wants to snap. So now I release the left mouse button, and the origin is snapped exactly onto this point. Well, that completes the setting up of AnyRail for your first layout.